Now, for the first time in 3 years, the Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Policy Committee has decided to maintain the monetary policy rate at 27.5%, signaling a pause in its tightening cycle. The CBN governor and MPC chairman Olayemi Cardoso made the announcement at the end of the 299th MPC meeting held in Abuja on Thursday, February 20th. According to Cardoso, the decision to maintain rates was driven by recent macroeconomic indicators that suggest improved market stability, particularly in the foreign exchange market and inflation trends. Let's take a listen to some of what the governor said.
Retain the MPR at 27.50%. 2. Retain the asymmetric corridor around the MPR at plus 500 to minus 100 basis points. 3. Retain the cash reserve ratio of deposit money banks at 50% and merchant banks at 16%. And 4. Retain the liquidity ratio at 30%. Considerations. At this meeting, the Monetary Policy Committee noted with satisfaction recent macroeconomic developments, which are expected to positively impact price dynamics in the near to medium term.
Now, the MPC's decision comes just days after the National Bureau of Statistics announced Nigeria's January 2025 inflation rate, which dropped from 34.8% in December 2024 to 24.48% in January after rebasing the Consumer Price Index. There's no question at all that the MPC decision will come as a big relief for the Nigerian business community now, which has been badly hit by the tightening policy of the CBN. But then the question is, could this be the beginning of the return of good times for the Nigerian economy and business community? Chief Executive Officer, Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, Dr. Muda Yusuf, now joins me on the show to provide some perspective. Thank you very much, Doctor, for coming on the program. First off, give us, you had, of course, expected that the CBN was probably, yes, going to retain rates, especially after the rebasing of the Consumer Price Index now. But give us your take generally on that decision by the CBN now and its potential impact.
Well, for me and for many operators in the economy, it has come as a big relief that at least we seem to have come, at least for now, to the end of the tightening, stance of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Because over time, the situation with credit, the credit condition for businesses has been extremely very, very difficult. So much so that businesses are taking credit at 30%, 35%, in some cases for SMEs as high as 40%. There's no way any economy can progress with that level of interest rate. So it's a relief, at least, that we have a pause on the tightening, but the desire of many businesses, many entrepreneurs, is that we should begin to relax these tightening conditions, because it's extremely very, very excruciating, because those rates are really very outrageous.
So when do you think we're likely to begin to see some kind of relaxation? By the next MPC meeting?
Of course, by the next MPC meeting. Unfortunately, the data has now been shifted by almost a month or two, which is also something that's a bit disturbing. If it's something that was, done bi-monthly as we used to have, then we can be expecting that in the next 2 months we should begin to see the rolling back of this tightening position. But now we are being told that the next meeting will be in May. That's almost halfway into the year.
Maybe the CBN decided to shift it, give that length of time now to see what the inflation figure will look at that time, and then it will be in a better position to take a very clear-cut decision on interest rates.
Yeah, perhaps so. That could be a valid argument. But the other argument is also that for businesses who are currently paying this kind of outrageous interest rates, May is a very distant date. Because if you are servicing your facility at 35%, 38%, 40%, for you to wait until then before you see a revision, it's a long wait. But I take your point. Perhaps the CBN still want to watch this situation to see how it pans out. But generally, our rates are too high. I'm even talking about this monetary policy rate, and particularly the cash reserve requirement. It's too high. At 50%, there is no country in the world that has anything near that. There is no country in the world that has anything near that. So that is why I feel that, we should quickly begin to see how we roll back some of these tightening measures.
Now, let's talk about the rebasing of the consumer price index now, bringing inflation down, and of course, now we're just talking about the figures here anyway, because it's not as if the prices of goods are coming down. We're not seeing that yet. Food inflation has now come down to somewhere around 26% and all of that. But from what you see going forward, are we likely to see a continued downward trend now in inflation generally, or what do you see with this rebasing?
Well, not so much with the rebasing, but with the developments around some key macroeconomic indicators. Because the rebasing in itself is a statistical phenomenon. The fact that we have seen a reduction in inflation from 34% to 24% as a result of the rebasing has not changed the realities on the ground. I'm talking about the reality of high prices. So that challenge is still there. And the fact that you have a reduction in inflation does not even mean that we have a reduction in price. What it only means is that we are seeing a reduction in the rate of increase. That is what it means. So that understanding needs to be clarified properly. But what businesses and the households want to see is actually a reduction in price. Because price level in 2024 was something else. It was too high. And the impact on businesses, the impact on household, on poverty was really very, very, very huge. It was a very serious impact.
So let's talk about manufacturers now. We know for long they've been clamoring for the reduction in rates. Now we're seeing the CBN hold rates, and the projection is that maybe by the next MPC meeting there will be some kind of adjustment downwards. What does all of this mean now for manufacturers in the country?
Well, it raises or elevates the level of confidence of investors generally, including manufacturers. But what manufacturers and other investors, particularly in the real economy of the country, want to see is a moderation in the rate. Not just holding the rate, but a moderation in the rate, because the rates are already very, very high. We also like to see a much bigger impact of development finance institutions, because development finance institutions offers a concessionary interest rate window. BOI, Bank of Agriculture, Development Bank of Nigeria, and the rest of them, they give credit at single digits. So if we see an expansion of that, a better capitalization of that, because Bank of Agriculture, for instance, has been moribund for close to 10 years now. Nothing has been happening. So you need that development finance component to create a window, for cheaper access to credit, apart from what the commercial bank is given. Secondly, it could also create an opportunity for people to refinance existing credits that they have from the commercial banks. That will bring it will ease the pressure of financing for those who are in the real sector of the economy. That is what we want to see. So we need to go quickly beyond just pausing the rates to reducing the rates, and prevailing on the fiscal side to also come on board, to be able to play its part in moderating inflation.
Now, you've spoken so much about, the foreign exchange rate. Just as you said, we're seeing stability there. At the MPC meeting, the CBN governor spoke extensively on what has been done to bring about the situation. He said, look, it's a clear sign that the orthodox method that they're applying is clearly working. In your view now, how would you assess so far, no doubt positive, but generally speaking, how would you assess the impact of those measures now that the CBN has, I'm talking about the FX measures now, which of course the CBN governor says has resulted in what we have now, and do you, in the long term, see the rates coming down further? I'm talking about the exchange rate now.
Yes, I see the rates coming down further if we don't see any major explosion in government expenditure. Because if you listen to the CBN governor, he has repeatedly stressed the need for the fiscal authorities to complement what is happening with the monetary policy action. So that handshake is extremely important to ensure sustainability. But if you look at all the variables before us, it's pointing in the direction of a further strengthening of the currency. First, we have the import substitution effect of in the petroleum sector. You know, we are not importing as much petroleum products as we used to import. That will ease the pressure. We have seen a lot of inflows now from the autonomous market window in the foreign exchange market to the IMTOs. You know, that is also having its own effect. We are seeing the euro bond, the domestic dollar bond, even though these are debt issues, but again, at least in the meantime, it will help to also boost the reserves.
Dr. Muda Yusuf, Chief Executive Officer, Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise, thank you very much for coming on the show, and thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Stay with us, don't go away. Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal. How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension